we will try to invite you, inshallah, to deliver some workshops in face to face, inshallah.
You don't need to invite me, Ahmed. That's my home. Rashidia was
Okay.
that's my home.
Indeed.
I'm a host, not a guest. Then, Ahmed.
Okay, so we will be the guests. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone.
Thank you all. Good evening, esteemed guests, speaker, Mr. Bakkas Mohamed, teachers, researchers, and professors, and dear colleagues. Welcome to this special lecture on reflective teaching, a path to professional growth. We are glad to have you join us today for this important discussion that explores reflective teaching, teachers' professional developments, and elite communities development as well. We are privileged to have you with us today and to have a distinguished elite supervisor, Professor Mohamed Bakkas from Trident. By the way, I have been learning from his experience and electronic portfolio or shared materials for many years. Due to his efforts, along with Mr. Hasim, within the mate circles, I got many useful ideas that facilitate my teaching practices. Back to the academy, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Marwan Sakran, the director of Beit Lisaniyat Academy, the Vice Director, Dr. Safiya Kassas. Thanks also to Dr. Abdelkader bin Touati, the Director of the Linguistics Research and Language Planning Team, for his unconditional support and efforts to advance our knowledge in the field. Special thanks to Professor Yassin Jamal Idrisi, who is the Executive Director of the Academy. Greetings also to all members of all teams within the Academy. Greetings also to all attendants joining us today. I need to remind everyone that attendance certificates will be provided to all participants as we get on this journey to explore reflective teaching. I encourage you to engage actively in our discussion. Please feel free to share your names, emails, affiliations, and questions in the chat box. Let us now introduce our esteemed guest, who is Professor Mohamed Bakkas. We are delighted to welcome you, dear Professor. Mr. Bakkas is serves currently as an elite supervisor in Trident. He earned his DA in historical linguistics in 1996 and has deducted 17 years to teaching English as a foreign language in Trident. His commitment to professional development is evident through the numerous training programs he has completed, both in Morocco and abroad, including 2 programs in the UK and the USA. Professor Bakkas has effectively contributed to teaching English as a foreign language by delivering presentations and facilitating workshops at various local, regional, and international national events. He also coordinated an English club at Ibn Sulaiman Rudani, earning multiple awards at local, regional, and national levels. Notably, he received the International School Award from the British Council in 2012 and obtained the Professional Certificate of English Language Teaching in 2019. Additionally, he holds the title of Goodwill Ambassador for Arkansas State in the United States. Professor Bakkas firmly believes that learning is a lifelong learning journey. We look forward to gaining valuable insights from the wealth of experience and skills he will share with us today in this session. Please, the floor is yours, Mr. Bakkas.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the nice presentation. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Happy and blessed Ramadan to everyone, to all the viewers. I'm very happy to connect with Darata Filalt again. So, originally I'm from Zagora. I'm from Mohamed Al-Ghazlan.
Yeah.
قصر قابل Mohamed Al-Ghazlan. I'm very happy to connect with Rashidia. So this is the Darata Filalt meeting in involvement with Swiss Massa. So thank you, Ahmed, for keeping contacting me, because we normally plan this in before Ramadan, but for some engagements, some professional engagements, it was impossible to do so. That's why we suggested to have it in Ramadan and to have it on a night of Ramadan, this secret. So happy and blessed Ramadan to you, Ahmed, and to the Academy members and to all the people who are viewing us. So the choice of the topic is of paramount importance. So we are talking here about reflective teaching and the path to professional development. Okay, let me start with the objectives of my presentation. If you want to say, we'll have a presentation, and then at the same time, there will be interaction with the audience. There will be some questions and so on. So first, we'll define reflective teaching. Then we equip participants with practical reflective teaching strategies / tools. We'll provide opportunities for participants to engage in collaborative reflection. We'll discuss the merits and challenges of reflective teaching. We'll identify, compare, and contrast and evaluate different types of reflective teaching. And of course, we will encourage attendees to encourage and share their reflective teaching action plans. So if anyone has a question and so on, he is or she is welcome to write it there. I will be very pleased to answer your questions. As usual, I'm of the one who likes to integrate games in teaching and so on. So we'll have time for riddles. So this is the first riddle. I don't know if it shows there on Facebook. So can you solve these riddles? So the first riddle is: I'm thick and heavy. I make your back sag, but students today just give me a drug. I'll Google it. They often say, what tool am I that's fading away? So we'll have 5 seconds, Ahmed, if you allow me. No problem, Ahmed?
No problem.
Okay. I'm waiting for answers in the command session, but...
Yeah, just...
Okay, I'm waiting. They said a book. Yeah, it's a book.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a book, but what type of book is it? Everyone is talking about a book, but which book? It's thick and heavy. So, Ahmed, no answer. So this is a paper-based dictionary. We are talking about a paper-based dictionary. Yeah, Kautar Boulagi, she said dictionary, but which dictionary? Now we are talking about paper-based dictionary.
Yeah.
The second one, you ask me why, but I say because. You teach me the rules, but I still break the laws. I write cat with a K and laugh at my rhyme. What am I in your class every time? Five seconds. 4.
You can make it 10 seconds because...
No problem, Mr. Ahmed.
We are slow learners.
No problem, Mr. Ahmed. No problem, Mr. Ahmed. We are here to learn, Ahmed, from one another and to learn from the audience. That's a great pleasure, Ahmed.
Indeed. Please, just to our audience, please don't share your emails because the administration said that they will share the attendance link later. Just try to engage with us in this wonderful presentation and try to answer the riddle. Is
not the class clone? Yeah, that's a student, but which type of student? I think that's, yeah, it's a student, but that's a hardworking student, a student who is very hardworking and who is ready to answer questions and so on in the classroom. The third one, I highlight mistakes with a bold red streak. Students fear me, though my purpose is meek. I'm loved by teachers, but hated by teens. How am I in this marking scene? 10 seconds يا Ahmed.
Yeah, yes, it's okay.
مرحبا.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one they got it. It's the red pen.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so we go to picture exploitation. Let's say a picture is worth more than 1,000 words, so that's why we are having this picture. What can you get from this picture? So if you look at the picture, you have there in a bubble, you have the reflection equals part of your work, part of my work. So what worked, what didn't work, okay, what should I change, and so on. The second one, this is by John Dewey. He said, we don't learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. So experience is very important, but reflecting on our experiences is of paramount importance too. The third picture, teaching can be a challenge, and it is a challenge.
Of course.
And reflection is a large part of working through challenges. As teachers, our job is to go through challenges. Is to try to solve the challenges, if you want to say, and face the challenges, not to avoid them. By doing so, we improve and we develop professionally. The next one, be a reflective teacher. Honestly, look at what you do from time to time. So look at what you do from time to time, and like you look at yourself in the mirror, and then you ask yourself, what went well, what didn't go well, and why. So evaluate the purpose of your role as a teacher. What am I doing in this classroom? Am I fulfilling my job? Or do I need to change the way I teach or the way I present things to my students? The next one, without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. So without reflection, we just go in on. And that's a great problem, because we need to stop and ask ourselves what worked well, what didn't. Then we will reflect and try to adjust or adapt our techniques, our strategies, our activities. The purpose is what? To involve all the students, to cater for the needs of all the students we have in our classrooms. All of this says that when I'm in the classroom, I'm not just a teacher, I'm a learner too. Or the classroom is not just a place for students to learn, it's also for the teacher. Another one is learning without reflection is a waste. If we learn without reflecting, we're wasting our time. Reflection without learning is dangerous. So if you want to say, we are here combining learning with reflection. Okay, let us reflect. These are some of the assumptions stated by Richard and located in a famous book, in a great book entitled Reflective Teaching in Second Language Classrooms. They talk about number one, an informed teacher has an extensive knowledge base about teaching. So if you want to be a great teacher, you should have extensive knowledge about teaching, how teaching takes place, how learning takes place, and so on. Number two, much can be learned about teaching through self-inquiry. As a person, yeah, this is self-inquiry. I inquire, like I do action research. This is some research I do inside my classroom or outside, or after I finish delivering a lesson. Much of what happens in teaching is unknown to the teacher. Sometimes when we attend a demo lesson by a teacher, when you tell him or her, you did this and did this and this was great, he or she doesn't know that what he was doing was great. That's why we need sometimes someone else to show us both the weaknesses and the strengths to improve. Experience is insufficient as a basis for development. That's true. So experience is great, but it's not enough. We need to have experience with something else. The fifth assumption is critical reflection can trigger deeper understanding of teaching. So by reflecting critically on what I do, how I do things inside my classroom, I get a deeper understanding of how teaching takes place and how should it take place. In other words, I try to bridge the gap between the way I think I'm teaching and the way I should be teaching. Of course, reflection is important for teachers. Not just for teachers, it's important for all practitioners wherever they are. Okay, now let's go to definition of reflective teaching. So for definitions of reflective teaching, I'll state some 5 or 6 definitions. So to some extent, they are ordered or classified chronologically. So the first one was by Dewey in 1938. He said it's an active, persistent, and careful consideration of any belief or supposed from knowledge in the light of the grounds that support it, and the further conclusions to which it tends. So here we're talking about a teacher who is inactive, who pays careful consideration. Okay, any belief, how he or she sees teaching, and then he or she is requested to compare it, or to, if you want to say, to contrast it with evidence he or she has in his or her classroom. Wood et al., 1985, they talk about it's a generic, reflective teaching is a generic term for those intellectuals and effective activity in which individuals, we have here individuals as teachers, engage to explore their experience. So that they have experience, they are doing experiences and so on, but the purpose is what? To explore those experiences. What's the purpose? To lead to new understanding and appreciation. Again, once we understand teaching, how teaching takes place, how learning takes place, we try to, if you want to say, engage or adapt our teaching to the needs of our students, and then we try to have a balance between teaching and learning. So we want to have both teaching and learning taking place at the same time. The third one is by Sanders in 2009. It's a metacognitive process that occurs before, during, and after a situation. So before, during, and after situations with the purpose of developing a greater understanding of both the self and the situation, so that future encounters with the same situation will be informed by previous encounters. So it's something metacognitive, is something which happens in the mind of teachers or practitioners, if you want to say, before, during, and after situations. So here the idea of before and after, we will discuss it. We'll discuss it later. So what's very important here is we look at the experience and we try to benefit from the experience. Sorry, there are two other definitions in there, but they are not clear there. So now the tools. Okay, now we go to the tools of reflective teaching. So the first one is exit slip or exit ticket. This is a ticket or a slip of paper we provide with students to provide us with their feedback. What they got well, why didn't get well, and how would they like to learn. The second one is a reflection in lesson plan. At the bottom of my lesson plan, there must be a part called reflection. After I finish this, then I reflect. I reflect on how I delivered the lesson, what went well, what didn't go well, what should I change? Because sometimes you have the same teacher, the same material from 8 to 9, the lesson was a success, and then from 9 to 10 it was a fiasco, if you want to say. How can it be the same teacher, the same material, and so on? So there are things we should take into account here. So once the teacher reflects and he or she writes here in a lesson plan, this gives him or her chances for improving or changing, supplementing, deleting the activities. Another one is teacher reflection survey. Again, this is a survey I provide to my students, and then by taking the survey, I get the feedback from my students. Of course, it can be done anonymously. You provide them, and then they like in a Google form or in like in something online, for example, and then you get the feedback immediately. Of course, anonymously. The purpose is to get feedback on how I performed as a teacher. Then we have extra pair of teacher's eyes. It means peer observation. So inviting another teacher into my classroom would be of great help to me. Peer observation is something very, very, very important. It's important in that there is someone at the back who is going to help you to improve by providing his or her feedback. Of course, for peer observation, there's what we call pre-peer observation, during and while. So, for example, in the pre-peer observation, I agree with my colleague on what to observe. So he is or she is there to observe just one. Let's say, for example, my feedback. How do I provide feedback to my students? Or how do I ask questions? Which type of questions I ask in my classroom? Mode of work. Is it ST, tennis, teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student, or is it student, student, student? Is it individual work, pair work, or group work? So when I have someone at the back of my classroom, he is there, especially someone I trust, he is there or she is there to tell me the reality as it is. Another one is keeping a notebook for observation. You keep a notebook where you have the observation about what you did in your classroom. Another one is videotaping lessons. Nowadays, alhamdulillah, with technology, it makes it easy. It makes it easy to videotape our lessons. Then we will watch ourselves delivering a lesson, and then we get more information about more information about how we perform. One piece of advice sometimes we offer to teachers or to any practitioner is to not videotape, let's audio tape. Once I deliver a lesson, I audio tape myself. When I go home, I listen to myself delivering the lesson, I'll discover a lot of things. Nowadays, thanks also with technology, we have the majority, all the teachers have smartphones. So if it's very difficult for me to write and so on, I can record myself. So record reflection on phone. Okay, I take as much time I want. Then when I go home, I listen to my reflection. Then I'll compare. I'll compare the way I think I'm teaching and the way I teach in reality. Of course, there's also a reflection checklist. It's a checklist to tick. I did this, I didn't do that, and so on. Or you provide it for your students, okay, and then they tick the ones they think they observed in your performance inside the classroom. So if you observe here, we have external. You can have the mobile phone, you can have the book, and so on. And then we have also our students. Our students will be there to help us improve. In some educational systems, they have they use colors. For example, green if you understand it, red if you don't understand it. Okay, if you say brown if it's in the middle, and so on. Okay, can you provide us with example of checklist? Yes. I will share, inshallah. I will share example of checklist later, or I'll share the documents with Ahmed, and Ahmed will share them with you. There is a great, just if you go to, you Google it, there's a great book, the book I told you about. That's, I don't know if it's clear there. It's Reflective Teaching in Second Language Classroom. That's a great book, a must one. So Reflective Teaching in second language classrooms. That's a must to have book for us as teachers or as practitioners. The other one is Teachers Mood Board. It's like when we start teaching. Okay. We have a lot of dreams. I want to be the best teacher and so on. You write it. And then when you come back, any happy or sad event, you write it there. Then afterwards, after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you go back and then you try to compare the way you started thinking when you started teaching and now. And then you try to look for ways to do so. Sometimes you teacher burnout, you cannot make. Okay. So I don't know why is there a burnout? Okay, when I'm in teaching, when I'm in the classroom, I like what I do. I don't think there's a burnout. So if every day is a new experience for me, if I go to the classroom and I love the kids, I love the job I'm doing, and they go there prepared and so on. That's something great, I think. Okay, could you provide us with some practical examples to use reflection in teaching? Yeah, we were talking about the techniques of this. Okay, we will come. I think we will have one slide. We will have one slide about this. I'll answer. If it doesn't appear there, I'll share it with Ahmed, and then I'll discuss it with you. Then making a list of tips, qualities, and attitudes. The things I want to improve, if you want to say, in my teaching. So all of us, we came to teaching because of a teacher. I came to teaching because of a teacher. I became a teacher of English because of a teacher. So in other words, what made me choose to become a teacher of English? Because of some of the good habits or good things I saw in one of my teachers of English. Now you might be surprised that the person who pushed me to like English was my teacher of Arabic. That's okay. That's his name is Azhari Mohamed Amin. I say hi to him from now. I don't know where he is now. He taught me in Tagunit in Zagora, I think in 1986, I think. Long time ago. Whenever he finishes the lesson of Arabic, he started teaching us some English. And from that, I started liking English. Then when I went to Sidi Ahmed bin Nasr in Zagora, of course, we had a great teacher. His name was Jim Cook, was an American Peace Corps volunteer who made us love English. And then the story started there. So we are talking here about the role of us as teachers. So some of your students will become teachers because of you as teachers, because of the way you teach them, the way you share with them. Can you share a personal experience where reflective teaching significantly? Okay, let us finish, then we go to questions. If you allow me, see Hassan Khadda. I'll come back to your questions. This is an invitation. This is an invitation to viewers. So we talked about the tools. We discussed or shared 10 tools of reflective teaching. So here you have one. This is one way of reflecting on the way I reflect in my classroom. This is a chart, for example, the tools of reflective teaching and me. So you have tool number 1 until 10. I already use it. I want to use it in the future. Ahmed, can we allow them some seconds, or we continue then?
Of course, we can give them some seconds. It's okay.
Okay, let me go back, Ahmed, so that they remember. So we have exit slip or exit ticket, reflection in lesson plan, teacher reflection survey, extra pair of teacher's eyes, keynote, book or observation, then videotape lessons, record reflection, and so on. Yes, you are right. So because if we interact with the comments, okay, you want the lecture, مرحبا. Then we'll have time. We still have a lot of time before suhoor. No problem. So of course you can share your ideas in the comments. So we discussed 10 tools. Which one you already use, and which one do you want to use? Okay, now we move on to the models of reflective teaching. There are three famous ones. We'll start the one called in 1984. He was talking. We start with concrete. We start with concrete experience. Do we know have an experience? Then we reflect on that. Then we have abstract ideas. Then we have active. It's like a cycle. I teach. I reflect. I get ideas. I take those ideas into let's say into activities, into lesson plans, and they take them back to the classroom and see what works or what doesn't work, and see why it works, why it doesn't work. The second one is by Sean, 1993. He stated two things: reflection in action at the time, the event. So as you are teaching, you reflect. You reflect at the same time, because sometimes we designed an activity and we thought it would take, for example, 5 minutes, then more than 5 minutes, or less than 5 minutes. So what should I do? Should I continue? Should I delete it? And so on. So this at the same time you reflect. Then we have reflection on action. It's reflecting on something that has happened, or you can combine. We can combine both, in action and on action at the same time. The purpose is what suits your students. We are there for the students. If there weren't any students, I wouldn't be there. You wouldn't be there. Just look at June when we have the exams. There are no students. Our timetables, or the way we organize our time, is affected by not having students. All right, there's another one that's Gibbs of 1998. He's talking about description. You describe what happened, then feeling, how do you feel about that? Then what was good or what was bad. You analyze it, then you arrive to conclusion, then you have an action plan so as to change things inside your classroom. Now, this is a cyclic way. It's just for description. It doesn't mean that it follows this, because sometimes you can start with this or that and so on. It's just for description. What are the advantages of reflective teaching? So number one, enhanced student engagement. Again, we said we are in the classroom. We are there for the sake of students. So if the students don't follow or don't see what we teach, we need to stop and think, and then try to do our best to cater for the needs of our students. Improved lesson planning. Of course, when I reflect, I decide on which activities to keep, which activities to discard, which activities to, let's say, to supplement, and so on. Better classroom management. If my students are involved, and busy, there will be no noise in my classroom. I would not have any problems with classroom management. Keep them busy. If you don't keep them busy, they will keep you busy. So if my students are involved in the activities and so on, and if I monitor, I turn around and I see if everyone is involved, I think you will not have any problem with classroom. Personalized instructions. Okay, you try to deliver instructions or take the different ways of learning inside your classroom. In other words, it can help some students. If when you turn around and you see they are lagging behind, you can provide them with help. You can scaffold them and so on. Increased confidence. Of course, when we talk about reflecting, it means designing your own lesson plans. When you design your own lesson plans, you go to the classroom with great confidence, because you don't need to think on your feet. The more time you spend on designing lesson plans, the more time you have, or the more confidence you have inside your classroom in delivering lesson. Again, improved student outcomes. So if learning takes place, teaching takes place, the results are there. Enhanced professional development. Of course, the purpose of all of us is to improve professionally, to develop professionally. Otherwise, as you said, someone said, we'll be burnout. Okay, or we'll have problems with discipline in the classroom, or you hate yourself, you hate the school, you hate the students, you hate everyone there. Hence, if you update or you develop professionally and you look for ways like these or for professional development, alhamdulillah, nowadays with the internet, there are a lot of webinars, there are a lot of seminars, there are a lot of days. Okay, of course, there are those by associations like MATE, Moroccan Association of Teachers of English, and its branches. I'm here to focus on, to stress, or to thank MATE for the person I am. I learned a lot from the great leaders of MATE and from the great let's say, workshops and their meetings and everything they organized for us. Again, stronger student relationships. Once you cater for the needs of your students, once you plan for your students, once there is a great contact between you and your students, of course, there will be strong student relationships. Good to see you, Sil Madani. Sil Madani is a great friend from Warzazak. Great to see you too. The Ratafield is invading us today.
Yeah.
All right, so the challenges, what are the challenges? The challenges of reflective teaching, of course, time constraints. Sometimes it's very difficult. How much time should I devote for reflection? Is there a time for reflection or no? Sometimes there are limited resources. I want to change, but I don't know how to change. I want to reflect, but I don't know how to reflect. Resistance to change. Yeah, of course. At the beginning, it's very difficult to accept change. When you find yourself that you are having problems, try to knock at the door of one of your friends, teachers. Okay, we should not be teachers there. I'm teaching in room 14. Safi, Bakkas, room 14, go home, 14 home, 14 home. No, there are other teachers there. Sometimes the solutions of my problems are next door. What do you mean by next door? Sometimes the solutions of my problems are with my friend. So if I open the door to my friend and say, please, I'm suffering, I'm having a problem, I'm having a problem here. Okay, how can you help me? I think he is going, or she is going to help you. Again, we talked about peer observation. So sometimes teachers, we say that other teachers are reluctant to have us in their classrooms. That's a reality. But let's have it, let's do it the way around. Invite them into your classroom. So be the first one to do so. So if I invite Sihmad, please Sihmad, can you come to my classroom? I'm doing today a listening lesson. Can you provide me with your feedback? Once Sihmad sees the importance of feedback, he will invite me next time. Thank you, Saud. Thank you, Lamin. Yes, documenting. Yeah, that's something good we should take into account. Sometimes there's a problem of, again, we talk about peer observation. Peer observation is very important if it's done appropriately and correctly, if you want to say, which means there must be a pre meeting with the friend and discuss what you want to observe, then during, then afterwards. Sihmad, I think peer observation needs another night, another Ramadan night. But
of course, we can schedule another lecture because
inshallah.
We are enjoying with you and a lot of teachers and researchers.
That's a great pleasure. Sharing is caring, Sihmad. Sharing is caring, Sihmad. Then lack of clarity of goals. Sometimes when you don't know what you want to do, when you go to the classroom and you don't know, this is something, it's a piece of advice. Whenever you go to the classroom, you should know what you are doing. Okay, that's why I say again, designing a lesson plan is very important. Once you design a lesson plan, you have the starting point, you have the finish line, and then you have the activities between the starting point and the end point. If things don't go as you planned, I need to change, and there I need someone to change, someone to help me change. Let me talk about my personal experience. During my second year of teaching, I was teaching, I think, with English Life, the old book in English, with English Life, and then I had problems. My students kept mixing between the reported speech and the passive voice. I went to a great teacher. Now he is retired. His name is Si Ali Himish. Si Ali Himish, who was a teacher at Ben Sima Rudani. I went and knocked at his door. Si Ali, I thought I had a problem. Si Ali. So I taught reported speech. I taught passive voice. Then my students were in when I administered the quiz. So they mixed the two. Okay, the great piece of advice Si Ali offered me was, Si Mohamed, teach one of them. Teach reported speech Go. Then teach passive voice. Don't teach them, let's say, simultaneously or in the same week or after 1 week and so on. This piece of advice, I didn't get it at the NS. I didn't get it at the NS, so I didn't get training. So from a person who is experienced in my school, I got that. So that's why we say we should open the door to our colleagues to help us improve. Otherwise, every one of us is suffering in his or her classroom, and that's a problem. Okay. It's mentioned in the comments that to what extent should we trust students? So getting feedback sometimes can be uncomfortable, but if it's anonymous, if it's done anonymously, there will be no problem. There will be no problem, I think, in that. So again, we said at the beginning, when there is trust between me and my students, they will say, yes, teacher, we did this, we learned this today, we learned this. This we didn't learn it, or I didn't learn it, I don't know why, and so on. This is like what we get from exams or quizzes. After you administer a quiz and then you sit down and then you reflect. Okay, because sometimes you find that one activity, one exercise you think is easy turns out very difficult for your students. If all the students didn't answer or didn't do exercise A, there must be a problem. Maybe they didn't understand. Maybe there must be a problem from me as a teacher, maybe from them as students, maybe communication between me and my students, or maybe the time of delivering the lesson. It goes without saying that we should, as teachers of English, we should ask for a change in the coefficient of English. So you cannot teach scientific students and the coefficient of English is 2. So, for example, if you teach students of Science Math or PC and so on, let's say Science Math, in Maths it's 9. The coefficient is 9, which means who is going to listen to you as a teacher of English? When at least you have 4 or 5. In this way, we will make it. Students will take it into account or consideration. I see a lot of comments and questions. I'll come to that. Okay, this is something I got from the book I told you about. It's reflective teaching in second language classroom. This is one of the teachers in his journal stating this. I had no idea. I did so much talking and I didn't let students practice. My pacing was terrible. I didn't give students enough time to practice one task before going to another. I did a bad job on the group work exercises. The students didn't understand what they were supposed to do. I seemed to ignore half the students in the class. I think this teacher, I didn't share her name, but if you can take his name and you write Mohamed Bakkas there, that's what he stated is right. Which means these are some of the issues we have in our classroom. I had no idea. I did some much talking and didn't enlisted practice. So this is the dichotomy of TTT, STT, teacher talking time and student talking time. Normally, in reality, when we discuss and so on, we should increase STT and decrease TTT. But then when we come to the classroom, a lot of things happen. Maybe sometimes it's because of the idea we have of who is the best teacher or he is the great teacher. So, okay, when I was a student, if you asked me who the best teacher or the greatest teacher was, is someone who talked without stop from 8 to 12. Tabarakallah, Mr. X, from 8 to 12, he doesn't stop, tabarakallah. But if this happens in the English class, where are the students going to learn English? if you don't learn English in the classroom. In a 10-year exam, I think in 2000, I don't know, 2003 or 2004, we went to attend the exam with teacher. Then see Al-Habib Al-Issa, Allah يذكره بخير. He is a retired supervisor. He was my supervisor. He's my first supervisor in Tarodant. When we were discussing with it, she said, Siflan, we know that you are a great speaker of English. You speak English well, your pronunciation is great, and so on and so on and so on. We came here to see what your students do, how your students use the language. So sometimes as teachers will forget about this. My pacing was terrible. Yes, of course. There's a problem sometimes of the waiting time. We should allow students more waiting time. Otherwise, we will work only with those high achievers. I did a bad job on the group work exercises. Instructions again. Instructions are very important. If my instructions are not clear and simple, the students would not do anything. So I break my instructions into. They must be short if you want to say. Then one at a time. Then I check my instructions. Modeling. I model the activity. I can model it alone with a student or two students in a group. And then I check my instructions. Once the students get my instructions, ala barakatillah, they can work. Again, one of the problems we have is ignoring some of the students. I don't know. Sometimes you ignore those who are near the desk or those near the door. If you sit near the desk, so those near the door, you forget. They are just passengers there. You don't know whether they exist or not. If you go near the door, you forget about those near the desk, which means that's why we need to vary the place where we let's say we stop, we stand, and so on. Turning around, monitoring is something great, so as to see who is working and who is not working. Personally, I'm sorry. You correct me if I'm wrong. I cannot imagine a teacher of English sitting on his or her desk, then delivering instructions and so on. I'm so sorry. Believe me, I'm frank in this. So that's something very difficult. All right. So Si Ahmed, yeah, Si Ahmed, we still have time. No problem, Si Ahmed.
No problem for time. Go on. No problem with time.
Thank you. Sometimes I liked one comment there by Mustafa. Sometimes you find yourself singing alone. Allahumma, singing alone and entertain your students or snoring in the classroom. Asi Mustafa. See, Ustad Fatima Zahra, the majority of students are becoming less interested in learning. Yes, that's a great question. How can we make our students interested? I was very surprised. Okay, I had a great teacher in the baccalaureate at Tanawiyat Walilahd at that time. Now it's called Tanawiyat Mohamed Sadis in Ouarzazate. Lycée Mohamed at that time lycée Prince Héritier. Si Madi Afif, si Madi Afif, Allah yajzih bikhair. He used to write songs for us. At that time there were no photocopies and so on. He would write songs for us on the blackboard, then clean, and then he used to bring his let's say cassette recorder to help us. So I'm very pleased to say hi to see Madi Afif wherever he is now. He is one of the great teachers who taught me in pre-formation تخصص إنجليزية in Walilahd Mohamed Sadis in Ouarzazate. Hi, Si Madi Afif. Thank you so much for what you did for us. Okay, Si Ahmed, we will if you allow me, we'll have some chance for attendees or viewers to reflect. So
Okay.
we'll have three situations. Of course, these situations are not mine. I got them from a WhatsApp group. There's a WhatsApp group by British Council. I think it's secondary teachers. They have some discussions, some CPD, and one of the topics they discussed, I think in September or October 2024, was about reflective teaching. I liked the idea, and I embraced it, and I delivered it as one of the pedagogical meetings in Tarudant. And I had one in CDUCD High School and the other one in Ibn Slima High School. I can read for you. During a group work discussion, you notice that a few students dominate the conversation while others remain silent. How would you address the imbalance in student participation in future lessons? See, Ahmed, how much time do you allow?
No, it's okay. As you like. You are with the boss now.
No, I'm not the boss.
We are all enjoying the lecture, and we are learning. It's okay. We still have time.
We still have time. No problem. Me, I'm free, Ahmed. Until you tell me stop, I stop, Ahmed.
We can continue for 30 minutes. It's okay.
Another 30 minutes. No problem. No problem for me, Ahmed. No problem.
Okay. 30 minutes, including the questions and the discussion.
Yeah. I nearly finished the Ahmed because I have just a reflection. So I'm inviting them. Which means this is imagine this situation were yours. How would you react? I don't know it. Okay, yeah, it's on Facebook because I.
Yes, it is on Facebook. Mm-hmm. There are several teachers and.
No, just sometimes what I see on my with you is not. There is this the idea of.
There is some time difference.
Yeah, time difference. That's why I look. I have my mobile phone. That's why I try to see what's happening there. So as to
I did the same thing.
If you want to say,
I think 20 seconds, almost 20 seconds of difference.
Yeah. Me too. I should maximize the wait time then.
Yeah, indeed. There are some comments.
Yeah.
Related to the.
Yeah, one. Yes, Karim Boulain. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. Yeah, assigning students roles. Yes, that's great. Giving Abraham Mohamed, giving other students. Yes. Differentiation. Yes. Ask the silent students. How do you know that X is silent and Z is not silent? Think per share. Yes, that's good. All right. Okay, we go. Let's share monitoring tasks. Let's say see Rashid. Let's say delivering tasks or assigning tasks for students. So number one, implement structured turn taken and assign specific roles for each student. Use small groups to make quieter students more comfortable, which means groups of 4, 6. That would make everyone participate. Yeah. Encourage personal participation goals. Provide starters for less confident students. This is an example of scaffolding. If you think that some students are they cannot follow, you provide them with let's say some sentences to finish. Yes, Irda, yes, assigning roles is great. So actively monitor and prompt quieter student to speak. Monitor means turn. Provide sentences, okay, for starters. Monitor turning around to see who is participating and who is not participating, and so on. Another scenario, you planned a lesson that included several activities, but you ran out of time and couldn't finish the last two. What strategies can you use to improve your lesson pacing and ensure all activities are completed? So one of the one of the questions was about pacing in the comments. This learning scenario is about that.
Yeah.
So 1 minute, Ahmed?
Okay, it's okay.
No problem, Ahmed. Whatever you decide.
No problem. No, we still have time. No problem. We can.
Yeah, set clear expectations from students. See, I mean, that's a great one. So providing students with checklists, providing students with what you expect of them, from them, how to help them. Students, you help them improve the way they present things. Yeah, flipped classroom. See use. Oh, I don't know. I don't see use. So I don't have the last name. Be selective. Use select activities. Yes, that's great. Adapt pace to learners, not learners to your pace. Yeah, which means take your learners into account when you, yes. So when it comes to finishing lessons on time, it's one of the biggest challenges among your students. Yeah. I think one of the biggest problems we have as teachers is copying. That's a. Let me ask this question. I don't know if you can answer it, or it may be a question for all of us to answer. When should my students copy the lesson? How much time should I allow for my students to copy? Because sometimes what happens, most of the time, I explain, I present. Then the whiteboard or the blackboard is very full. Ya Allah, you copy. Then students take some between 10, 15 and 20 minutes copying. When we come to practice and production, we don't have time for that. So then we come to a reflection. One of my lesson plan objectives is what my students will be able to use present simple. Appropriate to talk about their daily activities. Did your students use present simple to talk about? No. So did you meet your objective? No. So when next time, inshallah, next time when students come, they forget everything. You need to present again, and so on. That's a great question for research, and a great question for all of us. It's like our homework. All right, Ahmed, we had enough time. We discussed.
Okay.
So Iman Sktani, she said, copy at the beginning of class. What should they copy at the beginning of class? If they copy at the beginning of class, nobody is going to listen to you. So these are suggested for scenario 2. Prioritize essential activities and leave optional ones for extra time. Use a timer to manage activity duration. There is a problem we have as teachers. Sometimes we tell students 5 minutes, but then the activity takes 10 or 15 minutes. It's advisable to have a timer. You can use your mobile phone and be flexible. What do I mean by be flexible? If an activity deserves 5 minutes, you say 5 minutes. It's not like you say 5 minutes for all activities. 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes. Then they take 10 or 15 minutes. So if you say 5 minutes, and then when you monitor and you find that all the students finished, I can go to my mobile phone and delete 2 minutes. It would be just 3 minutes. When the mobile phone rings, we correct. Or the opposite. If I monitor, I turn around, I found that 5 minutes are not enough, I will change my timer from 5 minutes to 7 or 8 minutes. And they should avoid asking questions such as, have you finished? When you decide on 5 minutes, and then you tell your students they took 10 minutes, and you ask them, have you finished? Then they say, no, not yet, teacher. Oh, well, another 5 minutes. So time management is one of the 21st century skills that we should let's say, how can I say it? We should have as teachers, we should master as teachers of English. You need to check so that Sim can say, yes, we check SMS. Yeah. I used to devote the time for copying lessons. Later, I send it to them in WhatsApp group and keeping enough time. Okay, this is one ways of but this will create problem for students with their parents, because sometimes the students are using their mobile phones. We don't know as parents whether they are copying a lesson or they are doing something else. What about explaining and writing at the same time? I mean, encourage them to be then frequently check the time and adjust accordingly, as you said. Streamline instructions to be clear and concise. Build in buffer time to accommodate for any delays. I still have another scenario, Ahmed.
Yeah, okay.
Learning scenario. You notice that your advanced students finished the task quickly, while the struggling students needed more time and support. What techniques can you use to better differentiate instruction and meet the needs of all your students? Ahmed, how much time do you want us to allow them?
Okay, 1 minute, 2 minutes, it's okay, no problem.
No, you decide, Ahmed, you tell me, and then I'll have my time.
2 minutes. Okay,
2 minutes. Anas Ahmed, when the mobile phone rings, we start. At the same time, we can... how can we motivate? نعم Ahmed, go Ahmed. Sorry.
Because I face this problem with one of my classes, in which I have one excellent student, but I always have extra activities with me, and I provide this excellent student with more activities.
This means more preparation.
Indeed, of course.
This means that's why we said, there is a quote, I didn't share it here. It said, 1 minute you invested in preparation outside the classroom, you gain 1 hour inside the classroom. The more you prepare, the more activities you have, they will be helpful for you. How can we motivate students nowadays? We should look for ways that make students interested, then we use them. There was one question I liked by a great someone. He talked about, can we invite teachers of other school subjects to our classroom? Yeah. Yes, of course. Why not? You can invite them, and you can go into their classrooms. You learn how they deliver the lessons, and you may learn great things to take into your classroom. At the same time, Ahmed, I'm trying to interact with comments so as to make our task later.
Yeah, okay.
It's time, Ahmed.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Okay, let's share. So number 1, create tasks with varying difficulty level or levels. Group students based on their needs for specific activities. Have extension activities for advanced students. Offer scaffolding and extra support for struggling students. allow students to choose that match their skill levels. Again, designing activities, designing, if you say a worksheet or a lot of activities would solve a lot of your problems. So if you know group A, they are having problems with lesson A, lesson B. So you say, you please do start with A and B. If you finish, you can go to the other exercise. If you know that some students don't have problems with A and B, you say you start with C and D. The others you can say do all the activities or the exercises. Yeah, that's correct. Encouraging peer collaboration, inviting other students to help others would help. Yeah, team teaching. Yeah, that's great too. Zahmad, this is a question for our attendees. What about you? How often do you reflect on your lessons? Please, top numbers. Top 1 or type 1 if after every lesson. 2 at the end of the teaching day. 3 at the end of the week. 4 once a month. 5 rarely ever. And 6 never. For those who say 1, 2, and 3, that's great. For those who say 4 or 5, especially those who say 6, you need to rethink and know the value of reflection and reflective teaching. During the process of teaching, reflections, let's say for idea, it's very important, of course. Another one. How confident are you in reflecting on how you teach? Number 1. Please type 1. Very confident. 2. Somehow confident. 3. Neutral. 4. Somehow unsure. 5. Unsure. Okay, another task. Please think of the last lesson you taught and complete this chart. Number 1, what went well? Number 2, what didn't go well? Number 3, what would you change? How much time should we allow Si Ahmed?
Okay, 1 or 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay.
So please let me check my instructions.
Okay.
Yeah, think of the last lesson you taught and complete this chart. Please, of course, work individually. You have, Si Ahmed decided you have 2 minutes. You fill in this chart and you can share it in the comments. What went well? What didn't go well? What would you change? You have 2 minutes. Si Ahmed, if you allow me, there is a contest, another, after we finish this one.
Okay.
This is another PowerPoint.
No problem. You can share it the same way, and I will.
Yeah. Afterwards, once we finish this one, then we go to it, inshallah.
Okay. Yeah, it's time.
Ahmed, time is up.
Yeah. So,
Okay, what went well? I'm going to read what went well. Okay, let me scroll down that. Yeah. Okay. Stable Hadith Fuad. I was obliged to use but body language due to absence of materials. If I had the data show things would go well. What went well? Teacher training. Most of the students participated. The time was sufficient. What didn't go well? I didn't manage the blackboard layout very well. I would change making a drawing of how the lesson would be written on the blackboard. Yeah. See, Abraham said everything went well. That's great if everything went well. Seems of a student understood the lesson too. Some students were unwilling to cooperate with the others. Group dynamics. Khadija, Night, Aida, students participated in the lesson. Some of them are not interested. I can just listen more and more. Okay, see, Abdul, can I see? I taught writing. Students understood enough. Not enough time. Prepare worksheets. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So students speak a little bit. Not all students got engaged. The way the activity was organized. What went well? Students. What? That's great. See, Ahmed.
yes.
We achieved some of the objectives of that. So teachers are reflecting. That's a great thing. The class was interactive with many similar to classroom management was challenging at times due to high energy levels. Set clear. Great. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Okay, forget about this. This one is that this is an invitation for reflection. This is an exit ticket. We talked about exit ticket. So please, you have one question I still have. Two things I found interesting. We are talking about this presentation. So one question you still have. Two things you found interesting. Three things you learned today. Four things you need to reconsider or reflect on. How much time is Ahmed?
3 minutes.
3 minutes is Ahmed.
Okay, 3 minutes.
مرحبا. Okay.
It's a reflection of.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of the lecture on the lecture.
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
Ahmed, can I share the other one? While they are.
You can just upload it, and I will share it on the screen when we finish this one.
Okay. It's time, Mr. Ahmed.
No,
Okay.
the other presentation, I can see it now here. When we finish with the first one, I will add the second one to the screen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Time is up, Mr. Ahmed. Okay, so we'll share some. I'm sorry. Okay, let me share some, say Ahmed.
Okay.
Some like reflective teaching is the key. So democracy. Number one, sharing experience with teachers from different parts of Morocco. Number two, useful to help reflect. 3, how to reduce my TTT. Yeah, this is how to reduce my TTT. One, there are 3 pieces of advice. Number one, number one is I should write on a piece of paper. I mustn't repeat my students' questions and answers, and I have it on my desk. Whenever I go there, I see it. I mustn't repeat until I internalize it. Okay, this is number two. Number one. Number two, make the task an information gap activity. Now imagine you asked Hassan to talk about his, let's say, favorite sport or sports. Now, when Hassan speaks, ask another student, let's say Aziz, what are Hassan's favorite sports? Once you ask students about their friends' speeches or participation, they would pay attention. You would not need to repeat what they say. Okay, there are 3 keywords I learned in my teaching. 3 keywords to start the year. There are three keywords. Number one, clearly, slowly, loudly. I must start my teaching career in September with these three words. Clearly, I must speak clearly so that everyone can understand me. I must speak loudly so that everyone can hear me. And I must speak slowly so that everyone can follow me. Okay, if you share these keywords with your students, you will not have any problems. Okay, how can we take reflective teaching as a habit? Reflect. Reflect, as Mustafa, reflect. Take it, involve it, integrate it into your daily activities. Don't ask your students, have you finished? Of course. There are a lot of questions we shouldn't ask our students. Have you finished? Do you have any questions? Do you understand? Is it clear? So when you ask your students, is it clear? The students, they love you. They don't want to create problems for you. Is it clear? Yes, it is, teacher. Do you have any questions? No, teacher. Do you have any problems? No, teacher. Okay, so I should check implicitly whether they got it or not. Thank you. So before we go to the questions, the feedback is definitely more accurate than our self-reflection. Okay. The feedback of a colleague or supervisor definitely more accurate. Yeah, I think so. When you have someone at the back and he or she provides you with his or her feedback, he or she sees your performance from a different perspective. Again, audio taping yourself. If you audio tape yourself, you will learn a lot from yourself, which means, again, when you listen to yourself teaching, when you listen to your performance and so on, you will learn a lot. You will learn a lot of words you repeat. There are teachers who like excellent. There are teachers who like yes. There are teachers who like okay. Okay, there are teachers who like please, please, please. So, and then there are some students in the corner who are doing, like, if you want to say calculation. Yalla, it's your turn. Calculate how many times our teacher says yes. So that's why you need variety. Is very important. Self-reflection is good. Teacher training. Yeah, I can trust myself when I audio tape myself and I listen to myself. I can have that. Having a supervisor or colleague also would be of great pleasure. See, okay, there are a lot of things. So I found sharing knowledge and the conversation testing. I learned how should things I found reflective teaching can be part of. Yes, of course, it is. Yeah, what went well, what didn't go well? Yes, reflective teaching, great. Well, the presentation was very good as it was informative. How to reflect. Questions. I need questions. I don't have any questions. All right. So this is thank you, because this is the end of the presentation. These are some flowers from Qait Muguna, Ahmed.
Thank you.
The flowers from Qait Muguna. Inshallah, we still have 1 month, then we celebrate that. I still have a quiz. I still have a quiz for you. Can you share the quiz, Ahmed?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm still waiting for the Facebook so as to be shown on Facebook.
Okay.
I haven't finished yet. Si Bakhri, Si Jalal, Si Idir, Haidar. Not yet. I still have a quiz for you. It's a quiz show. I'm just waiting for it to be shown or shared on Facebook. Here it is. That's our quiz show, reflective teaching. So here there are some 10 questions to see how much you got from the presentation. So number 1, please type the answer. What's the primary purpose of reflective teaching? Number 1, to criticize teaching methods. B, to improve teaching effectiveness through analysis. C, to compare yourself with other teachers. D, to reduce classroom workload. Okay, they got the answer. B is the correct answer. Number 2, which of the following is not a tool for reflective teaching? Reflective journal, peer observation, teaching games, student feedback. Yeah, right. So teaching games is not. Number 3, what does the reflective teaching cycle not include? Planning, observing, reflecting, ignoring feedback. Yeah. I think it's the answer is D.
D.
Yeah. Number 4. Which reflective practice involves writing about your teaching experiences and thoughts? Lesson planning, peer observation, reflective journaling, action research. All right. Yeah, the answer is C. That's right. Number 5, how often should a teacher engage or be engaged in reflective teaching practices? After every lesson or unit, once a year, once a month, only when there are challenges. So please, our distinguished viewers, please can you write the number of the question, then you write, for example, you write, because there's a problem of
Time difference.
yeah, time difference. When you say A or you say B, I don't know what do you mean by A or B. Is it number 5? Is it 5A or 5B or 5C or 5D? الله يجزيكم بخير. Write the number, then you write the answer. Okay, I think the answer is 5A. Number you see now I'm showing or sharing reflection in action, because I was lost between A, B, C, D, and B. C. Then I choose, if you use 5, and then I'll solve the problem. Number 6. We are now in 6. Allah yarham walidin. So we finished with number 5. Which question is most reflective in nature? What was the objective of my lesson? What did I plan to teach? How could I have engaged, disengaged students better? What activity did students enjoy most? We're in number 6. Number 6. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the correct answer is C.
Excellent.
Number 7. What's the role of peer observation in reflective teaching? A, to help with classroom management. B, to compete with colleagues. C, to judge a teacher's methods. D, to gain constructive feedback from a colleague. We are now in 7. Let's go. That's right. 7D. We go to 8. Which of the following is a benefit of reflective teaching? Enhanced student learning outcomes, reduced workload, faster lesson preparation, easier grading. That's correct. It's A. 8A. 9. What's the best way to ensure effective reflection? Repeat the same practices every time. Avoid feedback from others. Focus on mistakes only. Use structured tools like checklists or templates. So 9D. I don't know if this is the last question or we still have other questions. If Ahmed has time, we will have more questions. But I think this is the last one, Ahmed.
No problem. Okay.
I'm sorry, Ahmed.
No. We are enjoying the.
Okay. So number 10. What's a good first step in starting a reflective practice? A. Ask students to critique the entire lesson. B. Make a list of topics to teach. C. Observe your teaching and note what you could improve. Wait for feedback from an external observer. That's C. Observe your teacher and note. Okay, this is the first thing you start with if you have such questions. Reflective teaching context. Terudent. So this is something I did in my area in Terudent, and the winner is Terudent ELT community. If you observe, there is some integration of AI. I integrated AI, artificial intelligence, in creating images, creating questions, and so on. Ahmed, I finished.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Bakkas. Thank you for this interactive lecture or workshop. We enjoyed really this session.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Yes, we enjoyed this session on reflective teaching presented by Professor Mohamed Bakkas. Emphasize a pivotal aspect of professional development in education. Reflective teaching is not merely a method, it is a mindset that encourages teachers to critically assess their practices and identify both strengths and weaknesses. The session is essential for promoting a background of continuous improvement, ultimately enhancing the learning experience of both teachers and students, because sometimes we find ourselves learning to improve ourselves and to provide students with better activities. The shared insights highlight the significance of teachers' self-evaluation as a vehicle of professional growth. Educators can address challenges in their teaching methods and implement strategies that better meet the needs of their learners by engaging in reflective practices. Moreover, the lecture implies practical tips and strategies for improving classroom performance. It reflects a comprehensive foundation of understanding the dynamics of reflective teaching. The recommendations for incorporating reflective teaching practices into daily routines highlights the crucial role of ongoing professional development. The improvement in teaching is inherently linked to the growth of both teachers and students. We got from the lecture that we can pave the way for a more effective classroom environment to enhance students' outcomes or achievements. Mr. Bakkas confirms reflective teaching role in shaping instructors' educational practices. This session serves as a reminder that the journey of learning is continuous, and by embracing reflection, educators can cultivate an appropriate atmosphere beneficial to both teachers and learners. Mr. Bakkas, we have some questions that were shared in the chat. If you don't mind, we can discuss them.
بس يا أحمد.
Okay, the first one was, how can we overcome the misconceptions about, like, I don't need it, I am professional, etc.
Yeah, thank you so much for raising that issue. So we always ask teachers, not as teachers, ask practitioners. No, if you think you are the best, look for ways to be the bestest. There is always a room for improvement. As we said, there's always a room for improvement. Don't be satisfied with what you are doing now. Always look for better ways to do the same thing. If you don't go forward, you go backward. You cannot say, okay, this is Safi. I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. You should never be satisfied with what you're doing. Always look for ways to make your job lighter, or look for ways to make what happens inside your classroom more engaging, more meaningful, and more relevant to your students. So as it's stated also in some of the questions, there is a change in the students we have now. That's definitely true. Before COVID and after COVID, there is a huge difference. So in the past, we asked students not to use their mobile phones during COVID. Use your mobile phone. When they came back, it's very difficult to let's say, to get the mobile phones out of their hands and to concentrate. That's why we need to use new techniques and use new ways to involve those students with what they have. I think the first step I would say is to reflect. This is number one. And to say, I am not satisfied with the way I do things. Again, we said, knock at the door of your colleague. So sometimes you find 7 or 10 teachers teaching the same thing, but teaching it in different ways. So if I go to see Ahmed's classroom, I found a different way of presenting the reported speech, different way of writing, for example, a letter of application. So sharing. Again, we say the first step is what? Be open to change, be ready to embrace change, and be ready to accept feedback from your colleagues. No one can improve without feedback. I'm not just talking about teaching. Any job, there is no improvement in any job without feedback. We all need feedback wherever we are, be it teachers or anything.
Thank you, Mr. Bakkas. Here is another question. I see that you answered already several questions, but here one of our followers said, "Can you share a personal experience where reflective teaching significantly improved your classroom practices?"
When I stated the example of the quiz, when I said that was my second year of teaching, I had problems. I thought I followed the book. That was my second year. I followed the book. I taught reported speech, then I taught passive voice. When I administered the quiz, there was my students had problems. So I asked myself, okay, wow. I explained. They said yes. They did it well. They understood, and we did exercises and so on. But then the results of the quiz were catastrophic. Okay, what did I do? Okay, what did I do is I went to a colleague of mine who was more experienced than me at that time, سي عليه هميش الله يذكره بخير, I noticed سي عليه I have a problem. So by the way, I would like to thank the teachers. Okay, when I started teaching at Ben Slimar Rudani, they were all helping. They were all paving the way for me to improve or develop, if you want to say. The idea of having colleagues at school who are protecting you and then protecting your growth. They are helping you. At the beginning, we make a lot of mistakes. And sometimes these mistakes, because we don't want to listen to others, we think, as you said, we think we are the best. I'm a newly appointed teacher. I had the latest everything, if you want to say, from the NS and so on, and the others are not. But then with the first problem, okay, I needed someone who was, let's say, nearly 30 years more experienced than me. And thanks God, he was supportive. Not just him. There were a lot of teachers who were supportive and they were helping us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bakkas. Someone said or suggests using artificial intelligence to help us in our reflective teaching. Could we use artificial intelligence?
Why not? Why not? Use any means, any tools you are familiar with, and they can help you improve, reflect to improve. Ahmed, if you allow me, there is one question here. I don't know if by Saeed Mukhlis. He said,
Saeed Mukhlis, okay.
Bakkas, you didn't mention some moral obligations when you are observed by your colleagues. Are these that should assume some professional privacy? That's why many teachers resist to be observed. Saeed, I said, invite someone you trust.
Yes, indeed.
Invite someone you trust, Saeed. Invite someone you trust to your classroom. I said at the beginning, when I gave the example with me and Ahmed, I said, I want to observe Ahmed, but maybe Ahmed would not accept me in his classroom. So what should I do? I should do the other way around. What's Ahmed? Allah yarham walidin, come, provide me with feedback. Saeed, peer observation, privacy, what do we need? So first, you invite someone you trust. This is number one. Number two, you need to sit down, both of you. Me and Ahmed, we should sit together before he comes to observe me. Ahmed, we agreed. You are going just today, inshallah, you observe just what? Questions. You are going to observe feedback. See, you agree with him or her about that. So when he or she comes, you agree on a checklist, and this checklist is known for both, for you and for him. So we have a meeting before he or she observes me. We agree on what to observe. He or she comes and observes me. Then we have what we call post peer observation, if you want to say station or stage, where we discuss the feedback. So I said, invite someone you trust. Invite someone you know that he is or she is going to be of great help to you. Again, when I say invite someone, sometimes I want, as I said, let me repeat, I want to attend the lesson of Ahmed, but Ahmed would not accept me. So I would invite Ahmed, Allah yarham walidin, Ahmed, come and attend my session. Then Ahmed will what? Will see the importance of peer observation. So next time Ahmed will say, Allah yarham walidin, come, let's be humble. No one is perfect. We have some skills we can teach in an excellent way, but there are problems with some skills. Let's say Mohamed Bakkas has problems with teaching writing. I go to Ahmed, Allah yarham walidina, Ahmed, whenever you have a writing to teach or a lesson about writing, I want to attend. What is the problem in that? So I would go to Ahmed's class, attend his class, and learn from him. Okay, just let's talk about, is it a personal experience? Yeah. Yeah, it's a personal experience. I think my third or fourth year, again, Si Al-Habib Al-Issa, Allah yadhkuru bkhair, asked me to deliver a demo lesson. And the demo lesson at that time, I think it's 2001 or 2002, I don't remember, 2001 or 2002, it was about teaching listening. So I had to record the passage. Okay, I bought a new cassette which is empty, and I bought the same passage because I had problems. Again, reflection. I had problems when I was when listening to my students. I lost the clip. I went back. I went forward. It was difficult. So I said, to avoid this, what should you do? I said, Mohamed, would you make the same mistake? No. Thanks God, in our school at Ben Marudani, we had what we call a resource center. I benefited a lot from the teachers who were at Ben Marudani at that time. We have Si Hasim, Si Shadani, a lot of Sibul Eish, all those teachers, they left some of their materials there. So we learned, and we had one old cassette recorder. So I used to go there and record the same passage, let's say 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, so as not to lose it. So then when I started teaching listening, instead I say, listen again. So they listen again, and it kept, I don't need to go back or go forward. That's what's very important here. Again, let's summarize it. Invite someone you trust. Sit with him or her before he observes you. Agree on what to observe, what to be observed. Later, after the lesson, sit down again and discuss his or her finding. Then you go.
Thank you, Mr. Bakkas. Here is another question in which someone said, should teachers reflection on the lesson only from a methodological, didactical perspective, or the pedagogical dimension included as well?
I think you should include everything.
Indeed.
You should include everything.
Another question said, how could these insights be adapted into align with the Moroccan context? I think
I'm Moroccan. I'm Moroccan too. I didn't come from Mars. I'm Moroccan. I'm like you. I started.
You are Moroccan, and the teachers that were commenting and sharing their reflections also are Moroccan. So it's clear that there are some who are doing or practicing this reflection.
No, reflection is very important. Wherever you go, there is reflection. Sometimes this reflection or reflective is institutionalized, which means in some countries, okay, which means this is something obligatory. You have meeting of teachers of the same school subject and so on. They agree. There is peer observation. They have also what videotaping. They don't go to your classroom, but they videotape you, and then later they invite you, and then you see the videotape, and then you discuss. So let me share something. There is nowadays with the scale up of English, what they say in Arabic, تعميم اللغة الإنجليزية, there is a problem. It has been observed. There is a problem of the way teachers deal with Spotlight 1 and Spotlight 2. So you have the same teacher teaching third grade. He is or she is in Unit 3 or Unit 4 or Unit 5. At the same time, with the grade 7 or grade 8, he is or she is still in Unit 1. Then you might ask a question: how come or how comes? It's the same teacher. Again, after reflection, there is a problem with what? There is a problem of transfer. If we talk about information transfer in others, as a subscale or a transfer in learning a language, we have here transfer of the way of teaching. So some teachers are familiar with the way they teach. They use focus or horizons and so on. They take the same thing to Spotlight 1 and Spotlight 2, where we have integration of the skills, where you have, for example, in each unit there are 8 lessons, one lesson in 55 or 50 minutes. But then you find the teacher taking vocabulary alone, teaching vocabulary 1 hour, teaching grammar in 1 hour, teaching listening 1 hour. Then we have these things. That's what we need. Then again, we had some demo lessons where we invited teachers to attend a teacher delivering such a lesson in 1 hour without any problems. So if someone can do it in a great way, I can do it too.
Okay, Mr. Bakkas, we have here Mr. Query Habib, who is wondering about how can we encourage our low level students to give feedback on our way of teaching, though they lack the language input to do that.
I would like to say hi to Habib. Habib was my classmate at the university. We studied together at the university in Agadir. He's a great friend of mine. So in the ticket, in exit ticket, you can use smileys, emoticons, emojis. So with those emojis, and then they tick, and then you will solve the problem.
Mr. Al-Ayashi, Mohamed said, is it important to understand what the Moroccan AFL pedagogical guidelines are about?
Definitely. That's our constitution. How can I teach without understanding, without reading those guidelines? Because they help me, they show me the way. They show me the way, and what to do. They are called what? Pedagogical guidelines. They are there to guide me. They are there to help me. Okay, if someone is offering help to me, should I say no? I don't need your help. Of course not. الحكمة ضالة المؤمن. Wherever you find it, that's great.
Teacher Adil says, what can the teacher do when students ask for translation of some words, but the teacher does not know it exactly? How can the teacher explain gently that to students?
So, alhamdulillah, nowadays you have your mobile phones with you. You have internet connection. You can again. This is one of the pieces of advice I got when I started on my first year of teaching. Again, we come back to Sil Habib al-Khair. He used to say you must have the dictionary under your elbow. Okay, which means you find there must be a dictionary there, because who knows? Sometimes students, they ask questions you don't know. Okay, if it's a word, you go to the dictionary and check and you explain. Sometimes it's a problem with pronunciation. You go there and check. Not. So personally, if I don't know, I say I don't know. There's no problem. I don't know. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. I don't know. It's face threatening if you say you know and you tell them lies, and then they found that you were lying. So let's use the tennis strategy. Whenever a student asks you a question and you don't know, throw it away to the other students. This is one strategy. The second strategy, take it as homework. So you check and they check, and next time, why not?
Yeah, of course. Here, let's go to a question that I have prepared. What advice would you give to new teachers who are trying to engage in reflective practices?
They should reflect.
Okay.
No, they should. They should. As new teachers, when I was at training at DNS, we had the big. They had a portfolio, and then where we reflect after. It was obligatory for us. Wherever you deliver a lesson, we had to reflect, and we had to answer those questions. What went well? What didn't go well? And sometimes you ask question why. What went well? Why? What didn't go well? Why? So once, if you answer these 4 questions, these are the first steps for reflection. Of course, it's what should I do next? What should I do next? That's will bring a lot of changes into our practices in the classroom. I think one of the piece of advice is be humble. This is number 1. Be ready to learn. Be ready to ask for help. Be ready to offer help to others.
Okay.
And design. You cannot reflect if you don't design your lesson plans. Design your lesson plans. Okay, I can take the lesson plan of Sihmad, but when I want to deliver it, I'll find a lot of problems. Because what Sihmad wrote had there is less than what he had in his mind. I would have problems delivering the lesson plan of Ahmed if I didn't know what he did.
Oh, indeed. What future trends do you foresee in reflective teaching and professional development?
I like AI. I'm an addict of AI, artificial intelligence. Again, we should learn. There are a lot, alhamdulillah, a lot of online courses, a lot of Facebook groups using AI. And with AI, now we are talking now about what? Prompting. How to write, let's say, an appropriate prompt. So by surfing on the net, by being a member of some Facebook groups and so on, I tried a lot of AI tools, and I use a lot of AI tools now in my practices. I would like to also to thank Mate, because the last conference in Rabat was about AI, artificial intelligence. We had great workshops and great presentations by great people. I really liked we had especially the speech, the first speech that was by a great scholar from I think University of Rabat, International University of Rabat. He was an engineer in an ICT engineer, if you want to say IT engineer, and the way he showed us how to prompt, how to create a course was something great. At the same time, there was one of his students. Serhal was his student, and now he is. They are teaching at the same university. They showed us great tips of how to use AI in teaching or in education in general. It's the same. Again, be ready to ask for help. Be ready to offer help, and be ready to knock if you have problems. I'm very proud to be. I'm a member of a great group. That's the group of the supervisors of English in Morocco. We have a group of WhatsApp where we share the things, presentations, and so on. We discuss. We look for ways to make our job easier. And I'm also very proud to be a member of G23. G23 of those supervisors, the group of 2015-27. From here, I say hi to all the supervisors of English in Morocco, and they say hi to all my colleagues in G23. And of course, I say hi to all the teachers of English in Morocco. I was a teacher, and I'm still a teacher. We are still learning from everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Bakkas. Before the end of this lecture, any final words?
Thank you, Ahmed. So, Ahmed, I had, whenever you want to deliver something, you have what you call stage fright. This reflective teaching, I delivered it twice in Taroudant. Once, because in Taroudant, I divide the teachers of high school into two. With one group, we had them at CDUCD High School, and the other one we had them in Simarian School. And then again, I reflected. With one group, we finished everything. With one group, we had to have some homework. Then I needed to ask a question: why did I finish with this group, not with that group? And that was a great experience. Thank you, Ahmed, for allowing me to share my, let's say, humble experience doing reflective teaching. I'm at your disposal, Ahmed. At any time you knock, I will be ready to accept. Just allow me some time, and I'm ready, Ahmed. I'm very pleased. I'm very happy that I'm talking from Taroudant to Rashidia to Drahata Filal. This is my origins. I'm very happy.
You are always welcome to deliver a lecture or a workshop, or to help us all learn from your great experience. We are We are just following you. We know that you are someone who shares with, everything. Where you don't, you share a lot, and I was learning from you for a long time, and because of your efforts and the efforts of mates, I established three mate circles in three different schools. Wherever I go, I start working within mate, and I learn a lot from that also. Thank you all for
that's a great, which means also thank you so much for raising the issue. I would like also to thank Mate is a family, Mate is a school. I have been learning a lot from Mate. I would like to thank all the Mate presidents, all the Mate members, and all, if you want to say, regional or local boards, wherever they are. So thank you, Mate, and thank you, everyone. Thank you all the teachers, all the supervisors who paved the way for us to be the way we are now.
Thank you all for joining us today for this insightful lecture on reflective teaching, a path to professional growth. A special thanks to our esteemed supervisor, Prof. Mohamed Bakkas, for sharing his valuable insights and strategies on this vital aspect of education or teaching. His contributions have significantly deepened our understanding of how reflective practices can enhance both teaching effectiveness and students' learning outcomes. Because when the teacher reflects, the goal is to promote students' achievements. I would like also to extend my gratitude to everyone involved in organizing this event, particularly Dr. Marwan Sakran, Dr. Safiya Kassas, Dr. Abdelkader Mtwati, and Prof. Yassin Jamal Idrisi. Thank you to our audience for your active engagement and thoughtful questions. I hope you start reflecting on this, on how to implement some ideas or all ideas that we discussed today in your teaching practices and reflections as well. I hope to see you in our next lecture. We might agree with Mr. Bakkas to provide a lecture on providing clear and simple instructions in later on, inshallah.
No problem. Welcome, Ahmed. Welcome anytime. Just no problem. Just inform me. Then we agree on time.
Yes, we will discuss that later, inshallah.
I will be ready to go to Rashidia, Ahmed. I will be to come to Rashidia Aqsa al-Suq, as they used to call it in the past. I will be ready to have it face to face instead of online.
That will be a great also. We will try to invite you, inshallah, to deliver some workshops in face to face, inshallah.
You don't need to invite me, Ahmed. That's my home. Rashidia was okay. That's my home.
Indeed.
I'm a host, not a guest. Then, Ahmed.
Okay, so we will be the guests.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.